Hey guys, welcome to another video. So today I have a cooking video for you guys. I decided to try out 3 recipes from Pinterest. 2 are like meat kind of Instant Pot recipes and the other is a cake made in my blender. It was interesting, I will say that much. And I had the girls assisting me. Yeah, let's get into the cooking. So starting with the chicken Parmesan pasta, I have all the ingredients here. I did have to change 2 things because number 1, Angel doesn't eat onion and garlic, so I used replacements. And I also didn't have Italian seasoning, so I basically used I had most of them. I think there was only one thing missing for me to have like a full Italian seasoning. So I made my own basically. And I also used passata instead of marinara sauce, but yeah, I will link the recipe down below for you guys to see the full ingredients and just everything you need. I made some substitutions, and there are some things I probably would have changed now, but we'll get into that. So the first thing I did was cut up my chicken, and I made sure to cut it in that kind of size so that it would cook at the same time as my pasta. And gluten-free pasta does have a bit of a different cooking time, so pay attention to the kind of pasta you put and make sure your chicken is cut to the right thickness. Now next up, I'm also going to just pour some oil into my Instant Pot nagaf. I'm just going to call it an Instant Pot from this point on, just so you know. So into the Instant Pot, we add some olive oil and we're going to saute the chicken until it is nice and golden brownish, until it basically starts cooking nicely. And as you can see in the background, you might be able to see I have Iris. I hold her for most of the video, if not, like, put her to the side. Yeah, see, there I just put her to the side. So I have my little assistant with me. She's safe, don't worry. I'm literally, like, right there. She can't actually fall without falling onto me. So, yeah, it's motherhood, guys. So anyway, after that, I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. It's simply a matter of adding the water, adding the passata, which I did instead of marinara sauce, all of my spices in place of Italian seasoning. I will leave a link below to like the list of seasonings I used if you guys are interested. But it's pretty much Italian seasoning except for like one thing, I think. And then I added the garlic and onion. Now, keep in mind, this was the first time I used these, and I definitely overdid it with the garlic and the onion. They are very, very strong because they are meant to be used as a replacement to give you that feeling of actually having onion and garlic in the recipe. So I kind of overdid it. It was a bit overpowering. But hey, I know for next time I'm definitely not using that much. And you'll see in the next recipe that I didn't use as much. Lesson learned. So yeah, I then added the pasta in on top and you kind of press it down. You don't want to stir it or else it might burn because of the way the Instant Pot works. So I pressed it down into the liquid and then 7 minutes, as you can see here, and it's a go. Well, actually, no. I think I spent like a good 5 minutes struggling with getting it to start. I haven't used it that often. I have started using it a lot lately, but yeah, at this point it was a bit of a struggle. Now that everything is cooking nicely, I took to shred up my cheese, and now I specifically picked up the block of cheese because apparently it's way better to shred your own Parmesan cheese, Parmesan. I can't say it. Anyway, it's better to shred your own cheese rather than buy pre-shredded. So I didn't buy mozzarella, I know, but I thought with the Parmesan I would just, splurge a bit. So I shredded up my cheese and got all of that ready to go into my pasta. And of course, the girls are running around the kitchen wreaking havoc as per usual. Now, once the timer is done and steam has been released, you want to give your pasta a good little stir just to kind of get everything incorporated. And then you're going to add the cheese on top of that and shut the lid on top so that the heat that's kind of left over from the pasta, from the cooking, will melt the cheese. And then you'll be able to stir that up and it is literally amazing, like cheesy perfection. Yeah. And look at Iris just sitting there like, she's cute. I'll give her that much. So here I'm just stirring in the cheese and it is utterly delicious. And guys, the garlic was overpowering, as was the onion, I have to say. I would definitely put less next time, but we absolutely loved it. And yes, I'm showing you the food in a plate for children, but well, I'm a mom and I have 1,000 kids' plates, so But yeah, this was absolutely delicious. You have to try it. Like, Oh my goodness. Even watching this as I edit now, I want to cook it again, basically. Yum. Just yum. Next up, I decided to go with the chocolate blender cake, and I made these two recipes that you're seeing here on the same day, but I started with the cake and then went on with the meal because the dinner took less than the chocolate cake. So I am using my special flour that Angel can eat. I'm also using lactose-free yogurt and milk, and yeah, it's a very, very easy recipe actually, and I think it also needs olive oil, but I didn't have it up here. So my little helper, as per usual, right here, and she's here as I'm recording this voiceover as well, so basically the recipe is super, super easy in that you simply add the wet ingredients as well as the sugar into your blender, and you give those a blitz. I added the milk, yogurt, which yogurt I did contemplate whether yogurt was actually a wet ingredient or not, but well, anyway, I added it all the same. Oil, vanilla essence, as well as the warm water, which I did later read the instructions, and it does say to add it with the dry ingredients. I'm not sure why, but yeah, I don't know how that impacted the recipe. I didn't add it. I added it before. Anyway, moving on. I added all of my sugar, and it does call for quite a bit of sugar, which is interesting. And I gave that a nice blitz. And at this point, Iris actually wanted to come and sit with me because she absolutely loves the blender. I don't know how this child... Anyway, so I then went ahead and added the flour, and this is the special low FODMAP flour that has a special treatment given to it so that it can actually be eaten by people with issues in regards to fructose and fructans that is in wheat. I used this flour for the cake. I don't know if this also impacted the cake because I have found that it does bake differently to normal flour. So yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I don't know if I like it 100%. So next, I just added the rest of the dry ingredients, being baking soda, baking powder, as well as the cocoa. And again, it does call for quite a bit of cocoa, which is also interesting. It's a cake without eggs, and I feel that does impact quite a bit. Not to forget adding the salt, of course, and then you're just going to give it a good blitz along with all the dry ingredients. And don't forget to actually scrape it down midway because the blender does have the tendency of sticking things to the sides and not allowing it to fully mix. So I gave it another blitz with Iris absolutely loving it next to me. It's so funny how she loves the blender. And then she's singing now, lovely. And then I simply buttered and floured the pan. I just find it's the best way to make sure your cake does not stick to the pan, because that is the one thing that I hate when it comes to cakes, having my cake stick to the pan. It drives me mental. I just cannot handle. And now I did use this flour, which, I don't know. I feel like the outside of the cake. Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. You simply pour the mixture out, and the mixture will look quite runny. It's just it's a weird cake. I will say that much about it. It did turn out really yummy though. It was tasty, and we did eat the entire thing. I will say that much. Of course, it did deflate a bit when it came out of the oven, which was funny because it was really nice when it came out initially. But anyway, I took it out and it came out super easy, as I mentioned before. I find that using the butter and flour method just works every time. And it doesn't stress me. That's the most important part. I just want the cake to pop out. It's as simple as that. It may not look so pretty, but I will say it was kind of I can't explain it, very dense and gelatinous almost in the center. But it was yummy. It was tasty. The flavor was there. Just the texture was kind of odd. I mean, well, it's an eggless cake and it's made in a blender. How much can we really expect? Let's be real. It was not like the picture. And again, I don't know if me adding the hot water to the wet ingredients played a part, or maybe the flour that I used. I don't know. I might give it a try, kind of doing it the exact right way and see what happens. But yeah, this is what it turned out, and we ate the entire thing, so that says a lot. On to the next one. Now, this one was a really, really yummy recipe. It's called Greek souvlaki chicken rice, which is hilarious. I just love Greek recipes not made from Greeks. So once again, I used my garlic. I had 2 chicken breasts, my spices, which are paprika and rosemary, and some nice rice. And there's also a chicken stock cube that I forgot to add at this part. Now, cutting up my chicken, once again, the main thing to think about is that you need to cut it as thick as it needs to be to cook along with the rice, because you want everything to cook at the same time. And my chicken was actually slightly frozen at this part, which actually made it easier to cut because it had like a slight firmness in the center. It wasn't too like gelatinous, if that makes sense. Also, the girls are demolishing everything in the background, like everything. No joke. So once my chicken is all cut up, I'm just going to start adding all my spices. I definitely added less garlic this time round, just 3 teaspoons. So yay me. I then added the oregano as well as the rosemary and the paprika, and it did make it a bit difficult for me to get the paprika out, but well. Salt as well as olive oil was then added, and the olive oil really helps kind of mix and get the like the spices to stick on the chicken. I then squeezed a lemon and forgot to watch out for the pips, so I had to literally fish them out, which was hilarious because I also had Iris in the background just wreaking havoc as per usual. So, I'm struggling with lemons and Iris is having fun. So mix it up all really well and make sure that the chicken is completely coated, and then you're going to put it to the side and allow it to sit while you're doing the rest of the prep. In regards to like rice, etc. You want it to kind of marinate for a little bit. You can leave it for longer, but well. So here I'm just going to add the rice into a little bowl and put it through like water for a few times. I would say 2-3 times. You want it to like get really cloudy, and then the water has to stop being cloudy. That's kind of what you're looking for. Look at this child. She's just enjoying her life, just dragging things across the floor. It was literally havoc this night as I was cooking dinner. She was just, yeah. Anyway, so once the rice is all nice and clean, you're going to basically dissolve a stock cube in some water. And there's a specific amount of water. I will leave the recipe down below because I do not remember all the like quantities right now, guys. So I'm just going to dissolve the cube in the water, and this just makes it easier to add. Now you can use ready-made like stock basically, but I always have stock cubes on hand, so it's just easier that way. And again, as with the previous recipe, you're simply going to add everything into the Instant Pot. So rice, stock, give that a little stir, add the chicken on top, and kind of press it down into the liquid, not stirring it again because for some reason it'll give you a burn signal. We want to avoid that. So then we're going to seal that off, and we're going to get that to cook for 5 minutes. And literally, I love how fast these recipes are. Like, it's beyond me. So once your meal is ready and cooked, you're going to give it a nice little stir, and you're also going to add a splash of lemon on top just to like give it that extra freshness and revitalize the lemony flavor, and you're good to go. And I have to say, it was quite yummy. Like, I enjoyed this. There was something about it that was kind of overpowering. I think it might have been the rosemary or the oregano. Like, I would probably cut back on my spices just a little bit, the green spices. But yeah, other than that, it was actually pretty delicious. Not much to look at because I think I probably should have cleaned my rice just a bit better. But other than that, it was delish. So yeah, definitely give it a try.